This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company. For more information and links to all our great podcasts, visit hartmanmedia.com.
Number one, I love your show. I love, the way that you go deep into business and then go, on some of these other tangents of experiences that as business people we all have. So thank you for putting out such good content because it's impactful. It is really impactful.
Welcome to the Creating Wealth Show with Jason Hartman. You're about to learn a new slant on investing, some exciting techniques, and fresh new approaches to the world's most historically proven asset class that will enable you to create more wealth and freedom than you ever thought possible. Jason is a genuine self-made multimillionaire who's actually been there and done it. He's a successful investor, lender, developer, and entrepreneur who's owned properties in 11 states, had hundreds of tenants, and been involved in thousands of real estate transactions. This program will help you follow in Jason's footsteps on the road to your financial independence day. You really can do it. And now, here's your host, Jason Hartman, with the complete solution for real estate investors.
Welcome, empowered investors. This is episode 2231, and I am so happy. Aren't you happy? I think most of the country is happy. We had a landslide popular vote, electoral vote. I mean, wow. Looks like we're going to have control of everything in the government. So it's going to be an amazing, amazing time. Stocks are up. Bitcoin is up. Real estate's going to be up. It doesn't move quickly. So there's no gauge for it like that. But everything is going to be just peachy. And, a rising tide floats all ships. So even our liberal lefty friends are going to be very, very happy, at least with the money part of their life. The one they've been complaining about like crazy. It's just great news. So happy. If some of you listening are unhappy with the result, look, you're going to be happy with it, because even if you don't like the guy, you have to realize that you don't have to like someone for them to do a good job for the country. And there are a lot of people I haven't liked in my life that have done good things for me. But if you are watching on video, you look at the map, and this is just a massive, massive red wave. We're doing a town hall on this for the Collective Inner Circle Mastermind tomorrow night. That's Thursday evening, where we're going to have Robert Helms, Ken McElroy, George Gammon, Russell Gray, myself. We're going to have a whole bunch of guests on as well. We've reached out to Mike Maloney, Danielle DiMartino Booth, Robert Kiyosaki. It might be a star-studded cast of guests that we're going to have coming on and joining us for this town hall meeting as well, sharing their thoughts. And those watching can jump on as well and share their thoughts live. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow night, and it will be on my YouTube channel. It will be on the other YouTube channels of all the people I mentioned as well. So you can access it on any of those platforms. Okay. So join us for that town hall. It's 2 hours long tomorrow evening. So check that out. Okay. As it stands at the time of this recording, 226 electoral votes go to Kamala, the lamest candidate I've seen in quite a while. I mean, I don't know, Joe Biden was a pretty lame candidate. And if you think back to Obama, even though he was well-spoken, he was really a pretty lame candidate either. The guy had very little experience. He was not a good president, in my opinion, but, he was well-spoken. He certainly had his good qualities, but Kamala had just none of that. And certainly Biden didn't have any of that. And Trump at 277 electoral votes for him to win the election. Amazing. Okay, a couple other things here. This is a Redfin report. The number of renter households is growing 3 times faster than homeowner households. Wow. The number of rental households grew at 2.7% in the third quarter, the second biggest year-over-year gain since 2015. The number of homeowner households grew by 0.9%. You've heard me talk about the 3 dimensions of real estate, my strategy for understanding what happens when housing prices go up, when interest rates go up. As a real estate investor, you make money either way, right? You can make money in the cash flow oriented market, or in the capital appreciation oriented market. And that is just a wonderful thing for all of us because you can adjust your strategy because you have this beautiful multi-dimensional asset class that works so well in different environments, different economic environments. National rentership rate remains steady at 34.4%. 34.4%, and the number of renter households rose 2.7% in the third quarter. We talked about that to a record 45.6 million renters in the US. 45.6 million renters. That's 3 times faster than the 0.9% increase in homeowner households, which is now 86.9 million homeowners. Okay. 2.7% increase, representing 1.18 million additional renter households, was the second fastest pace since 2015, trailing the first quarter's 2.8 rate. So it is phenomenal. Now, let's look at this chart, okay? Homeowner households year-over-year growth versus renter households year-over-year growth. Here it is expressed in a graphical format for those watching on video. This is quite striking. I know those rents have been a little soft feeling lately, but remember, they have risen a lot. I mean, during the COVID era, we saw rents just go through the roof. So, they're just kind of retrenching and, they've had a year of very little growth. But don't worry, the demographics coming at the rental market are nothing short of fantastic. And we are going to see a lift in asset prices just very generally. It's going to be amazing. I think we're going to see our taxes go down. That's going to give everybody more money to spend into the economy, which will grow the economy and allow those in the investor class to buy more assets with that money. So just a lot of opportunities here. Really, really good news, good things coming. This article, surging home prices lead to more Americans to stay in the renter pool, just corroborates the same thing. It's about the Redfin report. Redfin credits the renter frenzy to recent multifamily home building boom. So that's created a lot more options for renters. So more people are feeling that, there's more choice renting and it's more affordable. That's why we see the growth. And for the rest of today's episode, because I have not put all my thoughts together on the election and the big shift in government yet, but I will certainly have more of those for you tomorrow night on our Collective Inner Circle town hall. And then I will also have a lot more for you on that next week. But what I wanted to do today is share with you a speech I gave just a few days ago here in Miami at the Global Citizen Week conference, and you are going to hear one of our presidential candidates in that talk. And it really speaks to, especially for those of you who attended our recent masterclass on second citizenship, why it's just good to have a plan B. It really speaks to some of those things as I talk about civil forfeiture. I only had a short time in this talk. I was the opening keynote speaker for this conference. And by the way, some of you came and met me at the conference, so thanks for joining me there. I didn't have much time, so I really focused my talk on one aspect of the reason you would want to have more options, which is civil forfeiture. There are many more reasons to have options, to have a plan B than civil forfeiture, but this is one, and I only had time to focus on one, so that's mostly what I talk about here. So let's go ahead and listen in. Welcome, everybody, to Global Citizen Week. It is going to be a fantastic event, and thank you so much, Matt. My name is Jason Hartman, and for the past 21 years, I've been helping investors build residential real estate portfolios of rental properties nationwide. And we literally, especially since COVID, we get asked at least once a day, if not many more times, for Plan B options for Americans that are middle class, upper middle class, and high net worth Americans asking for other options in terms of second citizenship, offshore planning, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really great to be here. And we are witnessing, unfortunately, a once great country that I believe is definitely in decline. Now, it does have a long way to fall, I think, before we really, really need to be concerned. But the US is not what it used to be. And our freedoms are definitely being attacked in so many ways. There are too many ways to cover, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of them this morning as we kick off. And just want to say, in terms of what I do, I'm a podcaster. I've got a YouTube audience as well. We've had about 24 million people download our episodes over the years. We have listeners in 189 countries. And it's really interesting when we host live events to get these people coming from all kinds of places in the Middle East, Africa, Europe, Asia, et cetera, coming to our live events. It's interesting to get their perspectives. And interviewing about 6,000 guests on the show over the years, we learn a lot from them and our audience learns a lot from them. So last night, we heard about voting with your feet, basically. And, if you look at the different states around the US, they compete for business in the sense that they compete for who wants to open a company. What is the most business-friendly environment in which to open a company? And the states that win this game are states like Wyoming, Nevada, et cetera. There's a few more. Definitely not states like California and New York. And this is a good thing that it is a marketplace, that these states are competing for startups. They are competing for new company formations, new entity formations. And we need to make countries do that. And that's one of the great things that we're doing here is we are making countries compete for us, because when we show them we have other options, hopefully they will treat us better. So voting with your feet is probably the best way to hold some power over governments and some sway over governments. But if you are here this weekend and week for overseas residency, asset protection, second, third, or like Matt, fourth or fifth citizenship, he's building a whole portfolio of passports. It's really fantastic. Real estate, tax planning, investing, wealth management. And if you are concerned about political risk and you want greater freedom, you are in the right place. Political risk hasn't really been something I have thought about much in my lifetime, because as an American, we just haven't had to think about this until recently. I would say that 2020 was the first time I really felt real political risk as a US citizen. And let's just touch on that for a moment. I'd like to take one area of this, and that is something called civil forfeiture. How many people are familiar with civil forfeiture? This is incredibly scary. I've done several shows on this, and I see that a lot of room is not. Well, I don't know, maybe some people aren't voting. Okay, let's make sure. How many people are married? How many people are single? And some aren't sure. Okay, so yeah, all right. So not everybody is voting. Now, civil forfeiture is something you should be very, very concerned about, because it is something where the government can literally take your property without actually even accusing you of a crime. It is absolutely shocking how dangerous and how scary this issue is. So let's take a look at it. Now, the graphs and charts I have are a little bit old. This only goes up to 2014. But what we come to realize is that police are the new taxmen. These are taxing agencies. Police agencies. And listen, I'm all for police. I don't believe in this defund the police thing or anything like that. I like law and order, okay? But you've got to realize that this is being used against the citizens. And civil forfeiture, actually, people are losing more money from civil forfeiture than they are from burglaries. It's absolutely shocking, the stats. Most of these cases become administrative cases, 70% of them, meaning that they are handled completely out of court. Yeah, you thought you had the right to a jury. You thought you had the right to a judge. They're being handled by administrative agencies. And it is really, really scary. Here is an example from someone you may know.
I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. And because of the swipe of my pen, that person could be arrested. They could sit in jail for at least 48 hours. They could lose time from work, and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community, all because of the swipe of my pen. Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed. So I learned at a very young age the power.
If that doesn't scare you, what does? How many people are scared by that sentiment? I mean, the fact, look, folks, this is no longer a thing of the people in power hiding things. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're becoming incredibly bold. And with a swipe of her pen, your life could be ruined. It's really, really scary. So the forfeitures, they're ballooning in size like crazy. Again, this chart only goes up to 10 years ago. So I would imagine that this problem has only increased massively. Remember, I don't know how many of you are fans of like Milton Friedman, for example, right? The economist. Okay, fantastic. Read a book called Freedom to Choose by Milton Friedman. It's life-changing. Without property rights, there are no rights. Period. End of discussion. If you do not own the right to your labor and your efforts, you have no rights, no property rights, okay? So if you look at this state to state, you can see the share of forfeiture proceeds that police get to keep. Some of these states, they just get to keep 100%, and you can't get the property back. You don't have to have actually committed a crime. So this can be used as a targeting methodology by politicians, and the cops get to buy things that, nice new toys, nice new SUVs, right? It's absolutely shocking. This is a very scary thing. Now, there are other things, we have to be concerned about in the US, like these mostly peaceful protests we had a few years ago, right? Isn't that hilarious? I mean, mostly peaceful protests. Rome is burning in the background. It's just shocking. You can't make this stuff up. It's becoming so illogical and so ridiculous. And then you look at the fact that the country is basically being given away. I mean, countries have borders. We all know that. We all are experts in that. Yet somehow our politicians are allowed to just keep our borders completely open. It's absolutely shocking. You look at the people in Springfield, Ohio, you look at the way the government is having tax-paying citizens pay for hotel rooms in New York City to shelter migrants. I mean, this is absolutely shocking that this is happening. And the folks in power just don't care. This is by design. You all heard about the Aurora, Colorado problem, right? And the same thing happened in Dallas. But look at this headline. Mayor wants to shut down apartment complex in Aurora that is being run by Venezuelan gangs. Imagine if you owned that apartment complex and it was taken from you through civil forfeiture. This is the kind of threat we're facing, so you've got to have options. You look at the various freedom indexes, and the US doesn't even rank on some of these indexes anymore. The land of the free, right? The land of the free. It's not even ranking. When you look at freedom of press, interestingly here, it says the US situation is satisfactory, but that's not really true, because when you dig deeper, of course, you know that the media is owned by 6 major corporations in the United States. And so, yes, the press is free, essentially, when it comes to the difference between government and the media, but it's all corporate media, basically. And so it's controlled that way. Here, Press Freedom Index, the US is number 55 in the world. So we got about 200 countries, and 54 countries are better than the US in terms of press freedom. New word. Okay, here we've got a situation going back to the immigration thing. Kamala has relocated almost 5% of the population of Haiti to the US. I mean, 6% of Honduras and Nicaragua. It's absolutely shocking how the borders aren't being respected. And the last thing I'll share with you that should concern you about the US, I've been to 97 countries around the world. I spent the summer in Europe. Matthew was with me for part of that time. And the food is poison in the US. It is shocking the difference in ingredients in the food in, say, Europe or many other countries around the world versus the US. And it would be very hard for anybody to argue that we are not under attack in the United States. So we've got to have optionality. We've got to have more options. We've got to vote with our feet to make the government understand that we have choices. This is not a captive audience for them. We are not their subjects. We are the reason they have power, not the other way around. I had the pleasure to share the stage with Robert F. Kennedy just about a month ago at another event where we were both speakers. He's trying to do something about this, which is great. And then just in closing, look, when you're here the next several days, you really have the opportunity to build your freedom team. And that's one of the most important things about these events. You can learn a lot of stuff online. You don't need to be at a live event. But one of the best things about being at a live event is that you can meet people, you can network, and you can build a team that can help you have more choices. How many of you are fans of the late Earl Nightingale? By chance, okay? He had this great story years ago. It was about a kid, a 4-year-old kid, who was bored while his father was watching a football game. His father, being really ingenious, took a newspaper. It had a picture of the Earth as seen from outer space. He tore up the newspaper and he gave the pieces to the kid. And he says, "Here, son, put this world back together. Put this world back together while I watch the game. This will entertain you for a while." And he did it really quickly. He took some Scotch tape, he put it all back together, and the world looked pretty good. And the father said, "Wow, how did you put that world back together so quickly and so well?" And the boy said, "Well, you see, there was a picture of a person on the other side, and I put the person together, and the world was together." That's what we have the opportunity to do here this week, and really looking forward to it. Thank you again for coming.
The following is a blog post found on jasonhartman.com/blog.
Navigating market analysis and forecasts data to hold the strategic decision-making. Today's ever-changing market makes it vital that businesses have accurate market research and forecasts to keep abreast with competition. They empower entrepreneurs with priceless knowledge of what's happening on the market, consumer preferences, and future prospects. Along this article, we will see what are the techniques of market analysis, or whether there are some new trends on motion, or simply how your business can use this data to make efficient decisions with an advantage. Understanding market analysis. Market analysis is a process of assessing a number of things that affect supply-demand fluctuations in a specific industry or a relatively small market segment. It integrates both the qualitative and quantitative methods to yield objective results. Key components of market analysis include the following. Identifying market trends. While application the historical data, the likeliness of noting the typology may occur. In this case, the one should establish the phenomenon. Monitoring up-to-date market dynamics, including shifts in consumer trends, innovations, and policy amendments, helps you capture the attention as well as understanding the market as much as possible. Building on with those techniques, e.g. the SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, analysis to evaluate the market environment. Assessing competitive landscape. Study rivalry in order to know their strategies as they have their strong points and weak sides. Identify the market space in some and narrow large gaps to come up with possible areas for innovation and differentiation, doing the balance between the company and the brand image that match in the market and customer's point of view and the competitor's impact. Understanding consumer behavior. Tailoring the target marketing with the help of demographics, psychographics, and consumer behavior in order to have a competitive edge in the market. Carrying out surveys, head counts, and market research to understand the preferences and needs of the customer. Foresight to future needs of consumers by the business and tailoring its product or service offerings accordingly. Forecasting market trends. Prediction is of paramount importance in this context as it enables forward-looking market trends comprehension and evidence-based decisions-making. While predicting the future with absolute certainty is impossible, businesses can employ various forecasting techniques to make educated estimations. Quantitative forecasting methods. Time series analysis, with the help of historical data, to forecast future trends based on patterns and co-occurrence. Regression analysis, identifying connections between variables to look into the likely future outcomes. Market modeling, building mathematical models to duplicate market conditions and forecast the potential results in varying circumstances. Qualitative forecasting approaches. Expert opinion, consulting industry experts and thought leaders to gain insights into future trends and developments. Delphi method, iterative consensus building approach involving multiple rounds of anonymous surveys to forecast future events. Scenario planning, developing multiple scenarios based on different assumptions and assessing their likelihood and potential impact. Emerging trends in market analysis. The panorama of market analysis is constantly changing as a result of technology development, shifts in consumers' lifestyles, and global economic recession. Some emerging trends shaping the future of market analysis include big data analytics. Using advanced big data analytics software to process high volumes of structured and unstructured data to generate meaningful insights. Applying machine learning architectures for pattern recognition, correlation analysis, and prediction. Predictive analytics. Networking predictive analytics into decision-making processes to suggest future trends, customer demand, and the best use of resources. The application of predictive analytics in sectors such as demand forecasting, pricing optimization, and risk management. Real-time market monitoring. Using real-time market monitoring instruments such as tracking market events, consumers' perception, and competitors' activities. Ensuring that agile decision-making is supported by timely responses to market volatilities and exploitation of emerging opportunities. Conclusion. Market research, prognosis and analysis are the key instruments of the trade for firms in the business world of the modern era. By studying market tendencies, defining competitive forces, and applying advanced forecasting tools, firms can work on fact-based strategies, discover dangers, and catch up with market windows. Ability to respond to new tendencies such as big data analytics, predictive analytics, and real-time market monitoring will be a key factor for staying ahead and surviving in a dynamic business environment. Among all business skills, the ability to use the market analysis in the strategic purposes will remain the most powerful.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.